Hello, welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Stella Inamiti. Shagun Ajay is on sign language. Let's see more. Some of our top stories. Reforms to promote sustainable business activity between Nigeria and France. Federal government commences next phase of Siemens project after delivery of 10 mega transformers and mobile substations. Political mobilization continues as Gabon prepares for presidential election. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohamed Idris, wants investors, particularly French companies, to take advantage of the historical economic reforms under President Tinubu's administration to promote sustainable business activities between Nigeria and France. The minister led the federal government delegation at the Nigeria Business Forum, organized by Business France in Paris. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
It is another convergence of investors from Nigeria and France, with an agenda to boost Nigeria's renewed status as a global brand and destination for would-be investors. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohamed Idris, says within 2 years, the set targets encapsulated in the 8-point agenda of the federal government are taking shape.
Nigeria's adoption of fiscal discipline and revenue reform has seen an increase of about 20% in government revenues and a decline in debt servicing as a percentage of revenue. Our tax reforms are geared at raising the tax to GDP ratio to 18% over the next 18 months without increasing the burden on existing taxpayers. Through all of these interventions, we are deploying government seed funding to lay the groundwork for leveraging trillions of naira in private sector commitments towards infrastructure, access to consumer credit, healthcare, real estate, and many more. Now, Nigeria called for increased investment partnership, and indeed, this is part of the reason why we are gathered here this morning. We are, of course, keen to see French companies seize the moment to look towards Nigeria and for Nigerian companies to look towards France with greater enthusiasm to invest on both sides.
There was a consensus that now is the best time to invest in Nigeria.
We look forward to walking this road of reform to transform the relationship that exists between us and also to consolidate the economic footing of Nigeria, with France, of course, as a close partner.
French economic presence in Nigeria is already robust and praised. Nigeria accounts for more than 60% of French direct investments in West Africa.
Governors of Lagos, Kwara, Ogun, Kaduna, Ondo, Oyo, and Ebonyi State represented the subnational governments.
We are the ones that sort of like have the market, have the territory, have the land. It makes a lot of economic sense for us to be on the ground, to see things for ourselves, and to be able to convince the investors from both sides, and be able to take them, back to our country.
That it must be an investor that is very much ready to develop, to invest, and to partner with the government.
We have established a very strong partnership with the French government. That is why I am here today to also take the advantage of this very important forum.
The event also showcased the commitment of the Minister of Information and National Orientation to uphold the relationship with Thomson Group, a French company, in his reform agenda of the media ecosystem in Nigeria.
It is the first strategic meeting among stakeholders between Nigeria and France after the visit of President Bola Tinubu in November last year. And this is aimed to speedily actualize the desired developmental targets of the Renewed Hope agenda. In Paris, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, political activities have heightened in Gabon, with campaign posters for the April 12th presidential election littering the city of Libreville. Kolo Mohammed has details.
The elections have been fixed 19 months after a military coup ended the 55-year rule of the Bongo family, with General Blaise Olusegun Nguema heading transitional power and now considered the front-runner. In campaigns with huge resources, Olusegun's strategy is to create a personality cult, says political analyst Lizenne Kenga. A sharp contrast, Kenga says, to his main rival, Alan Claude Billy Inze, who is opting for grassroots campaign. Gabonese share their hopes ahead of a vote to pick a president, with junta chief Nguema, the hot favorite to become the oil-rich country's first elected leader since his August 2023 coup. Citizens want the process to work keenly with no mess.
Now that we're going to have a new regime, we're waiting for the new president. He has to keep all of his promises, because it's good to make promises, but he has to keep them. He knows that the Gabonese people need roads and health care.
Gabon is an oil-rich nation, and citizens hope to savour the natural resources. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
Ukraine's Prime Minister met with European Union President during the EU-Ukraine Association Council meeting in Brussels. Again, Kolo Mohammed tells us more.
The European Union and Ukraine Association Council meeting is holding in Brussels, with Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal and European Union Head of Diplomacy Kaja Kallas both present as European Union member countries discuss Ukraine and European Union security going forward.
First, we're going to discuss Ukraine, and I'm really looking forward to listening from President Zelensky, also getting the news and his feeling of the call with President Trump yesterday. I very much welcome the announcement by President Trump that the U.S. is trying to find additional air defenses for Ukraine. This is extremely important. And of course, today we are discussing what more can we do. So for Ukraine, but also for our own defense. For Ukraine, I've proposed initiative to really go with the ones that President Zelensky needs. Ammunition in amount of 5 billion. So we should at least start to have a really concrete step.
Discussions by NATO foreign ministers centered on Ukraine and especially its security guarantee. In other news, U.S. and Russian delegations arrive at the Russian consulate in Istanbul to hold talks on restoring the functioning of their embassies, with drastically scaled back staffing following Moscow's invasion of Ukraine. Kolo Mohammed, NTA News.
And back here in Abuja, the era of shortage in trade and market information, as well as limitations in trade facilitation services in Africa, will soon be a thing of the past. This is as efforts towards improving intra-African trade are being intensified through the establishment of African trade centers across Africa and the Caribbean. Benny Adams reports that at the inauguration of the center in Abuja, the federal government promised to utilize every opportunity to grow Nigeria's economy.
The cutting of the ribbon signifies the opening of more opportunities for trade facilitation, market access, and financial services from Africa to the world.
To achieve these goals, we must unlock new trade corridors and reduce dependency on imports, empower SMEs.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented alongside his economic team, believes that amid global economic tariffs, it is time for Africa to look inwards with focus on intra-African trade as a quick step to the desired prosperity of the continent.
We are about 15% in Africa, at most 15% intra-African trade. Asia, about 60%, between 40 and 60%, and Europe even higher. That is where we need to get to. Over the last decade alone, total disbursements into Nigeria amounted to about $50 billion, spreading across vital sectors of energy, infrastructure, manufacturing, healthcare, transport, and financial services. Our support to the Nigerian financial services industry, amounting to $19 billion in the past decade, has helped to deepen and expand this sector and elevated their impact on the local and global economy.
So together with Afreximbank, we're already co-creating the future through real-time trade intelligence systems, support for food security, and capacity building across value chains, from textiles to technology.
The African Export-Import Bank has committed $3 billion to finance the trade of refined oil products within the continent and reduce Africa's dependency on fuel imports, in addition to providing additional financing to the continent's creative sector and the MSMEs, among others. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Now, following delivery of 10 mega transformers and mobile substations, federal government has commenced another phase of Siemens project with the signing of $328.8 million contract for rehabilitation and construction of transmission lines across the country. Joshua Ojito reports.
Under the phase 1 of the Presidential Power Initiative, 544 kilometers of transmission lines will be rehabilitated, with new lines to be constructed. It is expected to increase transmission load capacity with more than 7,000 megawatts. Federal government and the Chinese company that will execute the project commit to its timely completion.
By focusing on upgrading and expanding our transmission network, we are directly addressing a key bottleneck in the power sector value chain.
Under the PPI, the Siemens Energy is going to be basically upgrading and implementing new substations across Nigeria. Siemens is not in the business of doing lines. So what makes this critical is that for all the incremental capacity that's being implemented or being achieved, we want to now make sure that we are able to evacuate.
Under the project, which is also known as the Siemens deal, 10 mega transformers and mobile substations were earlier delivered and installed in parts of the country. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
In furtherance of its efforts to stem child and maternal mortality across the country, the Renewed Hope Initiative has distributed another batch of 10,000 professional kits to frontline health workers, this time to midwives in Northeast Geopolitical Zone. Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu flagged off the distribution for the zone in Jalingo, Taraba State. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
With Taraba State as the host, midwives and other frontline healthcare workers in the Northeast Geopolitical Zone take delivery of their own set of 10,000 professional kits donated by the Renewed Hope Initiative.
It is meant for professionalism. When you see anybody wearing this outside the hospital, you are able to identify him as a health worker.
And that is why the Renewed Hope Initiative, RHI, procured 60,000 branded scrubs and 60,000 pairs of Crocs as an incentive to encourage and support the tireless dedication of our midwives.
Presenting the items as part of RHI intervention under its health advocacies, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu highlights the importance of investing in and empowering health workers in order to scale down cases of child and maternal mortality in the country.
RHI recognizes that the demands of the health profession requires not only skills and compassion, but also the right tools and kits to encourage our midwives as they serve others.
It takes all of us, the federal government, states, local government, civil society, traditional leaders, and the whole of society to be able to improve the health and well-being of Nigerians.
While applauding the intervention, Taraba State Governor Agbu Kefas aligns the state with RHI vision of renewing the hope of Nigerians.
Let us continue in service to humanity, loving others as we love ourselves. That is the spirit we see in your work today. We in Taraba share in the vision of the Renew Hope Initiative, which align with our 5-finger development agenda.
Providing financial aid to the elderly, distributing essential food items, and offering support to those in need are clear manifestation of your compassionate leadership.
To the delight of women petty traders in the state, The First Lady also announced a donation of 50 million naira as business recapitalization grant for 1,000 beneficiaries in the state. The First Lady had earlier met with members of the Taraba State Traditional Rulers Council, where she renewed her appeal to them to actively support initiatives designed to improve the health and well-being of their people. Chairman of the council, His Royal Majesty Manu Ishaku Ada Ali, appreciates her interventions in the health sector, noting their impact on the well-being of the people. From Jalingo in Taraba State, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Now let's pause here for some messages. We'll be back with more news. Thanks for staying with us. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, says President Bola Tinubu administration is driving bold reforms to strengthen Nigeria's health system, including expanding access to affordable health care through strategic partnerships. Speaking at the official unveiling of the Diaspora Hub app and Diaspora Health Insurance Scheme organized by the Africa Diaspora Corporation in Abuja, Professor Pate describes the initiative as vital complement to government efforts in achieving universal health coverage. Professor Pate emphasizes that the Diaspora Health Insurance Plan will play a crucial role in mobilizing resources from abroad to support families back home, easing the financial burden of health care access and improving overall health outcomes. He calls on the diaspora to continue investing their expertise, networks, and capital to build local capacity, including pharmaceutical plants and diagnostic infrastructure. Building on the progress of its initial efforts, Resilak has announced the launch of Phase 2 of its recovery plan for the Lake Chad region. The €40 million project, co-funded by the European Union and the French Development Agency, is a crucial initiative to revitalize communities grappling with years of insecurity and increasing threat of climate change. Charles Alpha reports.
Climate change and security instability for years have disrupted the living conditions and triggered massive population displacement in the Lake Chad region. This is why the European Union and French Development Agency initiated the Resilak project around Lake Chad to create favorable conditions and strengthen the resilience of population through economic recovery, social cohesion, and sustainable management of the most vulnerable territories.
This is a project about helping the communities, and especially the most vulnerable, in particular the IDPs, to have better opportunities of livelihood, of employment in sectors like forestry, like fisheries, like agriculture.
This phase for the next 5 years will be implemented in 3 African countries: Chad, Cameroon, and Nigeria. The project in Nigeria will focus on 36,000 direct beneficiaries, prioritizing vulnerable groups such as women and children and internally displaced persons within 3 local government areas in Borno State.
It was more than 140,000 people that were involved during phase 1. We would like with phase 2 to involve 120 at least new communities.
It is a strategy that tries to bring back livelihood to the areas affected by Boko Haram insurgency. So the entire activity of Resilak speaks directly to some of the strategies that we have within that regional stabilization.
While it will consolidate achievements and lessons learned from phase 1, the new phase of the Resilak will target 118,000 direct beneficiaries and aims to reach more than 500,000 persons indirectly from vulnerable households, displaced refugees, and host communities. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
The President's ECOWAS Community Court of Justice, Justice Ricardo Claudio Goncalves, has asked staff of the court to dedicate themselves to service despite the challenges confronting the institution. He was speaking in Abuja at an event to say farewell to 4 retiring staff. Austin Anyebe reports.
The event brought together staffers of the community court to celebrate with their departing colleagues who have served the court in different capacities meritoriously over some decades. It also provided the president of the court the opportunity to intimate them about the state of affairs at the regional court, and he was frank in painting the picture of the financial challenge ECOWAS court is faced with following the departure of 3 countries from the fold, among others. He was, however, optimistic that political decision makers know what to do to reposition the regional body. Chief Registrar of the Community Court of Justice, Dr. Yauza Orasama, who chronicled the days and diligent services of the retiring staff, said the court shall for a long time count on their wealth of experiences.
It's not just about the years spent working, but about the moments that have touched all of our lives, the knowledge shared, the wisdom imparted, and the relationships built.
It pains me to see young professionals with the whole world ahead of them, instead of working together, try to destroy one another. It will never help. To succeed in life, you have to succeed together.
It is not every time you see justices of a court taken to a dance floor, but here they are in the spirit of the occasion, exhibiting their skills.
I am a fulfilled man. I feel enriched by being of service to my people.
I am so happy to go, not because I'm in a hurry, but because I accomplished.
In Abuja, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
T. Pompey Concept, a leading real estate firm in Nigeria, is determined to prioritize the provision of decent and affordable houses to medium and low-income earners in the country. The managing director and chief executive officer of the real estate concept, Akintayo Adaralegbe, said this during a T. Pompey Concept Mega City Roadshow in Abuja. Francis Udojo reports that top-notch musicians like Olamide participated at the event.
The Mega City Road work, which started from Wuse 2 and Road Banner and terminated at Beggar Bridge, provided opportunity for T. Pompey to educate the masses, especially residents of Abuja, of its plan to launch its mega city situated at Gude Apo in Abuja come November this year. The roadshow, featuring iconic musicians, T. Pompey Concept said serves as a powerful reminder of its commitment to maintaining the affordability of the T. Pompey mega city, despite its prime location in Gude Apo area of Abuja.
You don't need to engage yourself in criminality, and we're telling you with little money you can get it right with us.
I'm that type of guy that, like, respect, and I appreciate people that are doing something great to grow the economy and grow the society. And T. Pompey is one of those people that are really impacting the society in a very positive way, and it only makes sense for me to come and show my support.
To provide assurance, T. Pompey Mega City offers buyers peace of mind with its Federal Capital Development Authority FCDA Certificate of Occupancy, CFO, ensuring the long-term security and legitimacy of their investment.
We are not ready to bring out RFO to you. We are bringing the CFO, the highest title of the land, so that everybody can be rest assured that you are buying something.
Okay, so as an ambassador, I have done my research and realized that most properties that are sold by T. Pompey has what they call real title document.
T. Pompey, it is glaring. This is the best platform you can get your house from.
T. Pompey Mega City has come here to stay. Come and buy now.
Our message to people is to just trust T. Pompey, of course, and without doing more that cares.
T. Pompey Concept is reliable.
The pre-launch sales promo, which began on March 31 and run until April 17, aims to meet the needs of many home seekers. The current promotional offer includes 500 square meter plots for 5 million naira, 300 square meter plots for 3.5 million naira, and 200 square meter plots for 2.5 million. This approach, T. Pompey Concept said, aligns with her core mission to make home ownership accessible to as many Nigerians as possible complementing government's efforts in addressing the nation's estimated growing housing deficit of 28 million. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
The leadership of the Labour Party has alerted the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) of an illegal primaries for the Anambra State governorship election allegedly being conducted by some members of the party. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary, Obiora Ifo, affirmed that the Labour Party, while associating itself from any other primary, stated that the 5th April primary that produced George Moghalu as his governorship candidate in the November 8, 2025 election is the only authentic one, having complied with the relevant provisions. And this is where we end the news. I am Stella Inamiti, and a sign language interpreter is Shegun Ajayi.